Hello my friends, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. I'm Lisa and we're working on another rebuild in Willow Creek using the base game only. Today we're working on the Blue Velvet, the nightclub in the commercial district of Willow Creek. I wanted to rebuild the structure and make the layout make a lot more sense than it kind of did before. I want it to be welcoming and lots of things for your Sims to do, and while they're hanging out here they can dance, they can drink at the bar, they can have activities like games. And I also want to keep some of the elements that were in the original build, kind of like fusing the old with the new together to make them cohesive. But I do like the addition of this saxophone neon light that I added to the edge of the building there. I think that pops. And you know what else fits really well? Using the color blue. Since the Blue Velvet didn't have anything of the color incorporated in the design before, I wanted to make sure that I included it in this design. So I'm just finalizing the exterior of this build. I definitely wanted it to be darker so it fits the mood of being a nightclub, and I try out these windows but then soon decide, once I add the dark brick color, that it looks really sharp having black windows. And so I kept the blue door as well, but once I changed it to the black windows I was like, yep, that's it. That's the look I'm going for. So I put this nice little mural on the side there, and just making sure that I have it all kind of put together, and the exterior trim on the roof. I start messing around with the fencing around this back patio area, but I decided I'm just going to come back to it. Let me get the interior worked out and then I can move on to how my patio is going to look. I know that I wanted to add a stage in the back, like central location, and have a piano there so that you can hire a entertainer. And also up on the stage, of course, I will include a guitar, a violin, and a microphone in case you want your Sims to hire a comedian. So I wanted to make a little platform to the side there where the stairs come up, but it's kind of hidden away. So it's the entertainer's entrance out to the stage. I really like how it ended up turning out because it works really well in gameplay. So going back to the overall layout, originally you walk in the front door and there's a bunch of dining tables and the piano off to the right, and then you walk back to this narrow hallway and there's a bar like tucked back in the back corner, and it just didn't flow really well previously. Also, the bathrooms were only upstairs and there was like a balcony area but no seating, if I remember correctly. There wasn't like much to do upstairs except for just use the restrooms. So I included the restrooms in the back corner. This is previously where the bar was located in the previous build. So I wanted to make sure that there was plenty of stalls and it looked sophisticated for the Blue Velvet, and I wanted to use kind of a similar wallpaper for the stalls, and then the one with the paneling used in the washroom part of the restroom. So it took me a little while to get all of these toilet paper rolls level and not too high. They're pretty close to where they need to be, and I thought it was cool. Once I was placing, you could see all of them lined up. So I was happy with that. Moving on to put some music in the bathroom, because you know what I noticed? In real life, they always have light music playing in the bathrooms, but I never thought to do this in The Sims before. So I did classical. The rest of the music that's throughout this build is going to be jazz. So it's kind of like a jazz lounge nightclub. And of course, here's the blue. I love this flooring, and it looks a lot better because I do, you know, dark color on the walls and stuff. So it does feel like it is a nightclub. It does have that vibe, like it belongs or it comes alive at nighttime. So I found a nice platform trim for the stage, and then I want to work on the rest of my layout, find out where my doors are going to go, and I'm putting another door at the patio upstairs, and I need to figure out how the stairs are going to work and where they're going to go. So first, messing with some gravel and concrete textures for the roofing and the upstairs patio. So I thought of doing a fence around the front balcony if it was raised high, but then it just doesn't look good with the windows in front. So I lowered it back down, and I'm just gonna keep the fencing and curb appeal to be lower than the windows in the front. So I went real quick to the back to add a balcony because I kind of want a platform to separate the stairs so it's not just one long stairway. I like it to kind of gradually wind down, and so I ended up finally just making a platform, raising it about halfway, and then doing one stairs up to this platform and then another stairway up to the next level. I love how it comes together so nicely. That's great. Okay, so I am going to match the brick along the platform and the stairs, and then adding my flooring. I also need the railing on the stairs, the same railing I'm going to use for this upper balcony. As you can see, I'm just cutting away where the ceiling will be deleted so it'll look down into the stage in the lower level. I like the idea of your Sims going on a date and sitting in the upper level so they can still chat and get a nice view of everything going on in the lower level, the dancing, the music, and the bar. So I think it's nice vibes, like chill vibes in the upstairs area. And I love the fact that I will later on add some gaming tables upstairs. I thought an extra bathroom would work too, just so that it would be nearby in case Sims needed to use the restroom. Plus, it's just above the entertainer's entrance onto the stage, so the wall is kind of just continuously going, up along that wall, and it kind of contains it all there. So I thought about adding a trim here to the railing, but I ended up removing it later on because the trim wraps around the outside of the building and it didn't make sense that way. So I'm just spacing out my lighting. I want to keep the lighting very dim, and I know it's kind of hard to see while I'm building, but I like it in live mode. When your Sims actually go to visit here, the mood is just right where it needs to be. It's a nice jazz nightclub, and it's got those vibes. And of course, the blue velvet has blue everywhere in a tasteful way. So I wanted to choose which bar I felt best fit, and I went with this one. So I had to go through and make sure I found the matching countertops to go with it. And I wanted to do like a little U-shaped bar with seating all the way around it, so there's plenty of spaces for your Sims to sit down. And I got that matching ottoman because I was going to position that near the restrooms in just a minute. So 3 across looks a lot better. It's well lit behind the bar, so it gives off that vibe. And there's the ottoman, and I thought this fancy little star mirror above it looked nice. So now I'm just getting some curtains that match with everything, and I'm gonna go ahead and put the curtains upstairs as well. And then I noticed I had to just position them down a little bit more. And now for the decorations, the fun part. So first things first, I went and looked for all of the neon lights that I could find in the base game and positioned them behind the bar. I thought about getting some of that new artwork that just came with the most recent base game update. And then I found all these like movie poster things, and I thought this was perfect for this long hallway. And then any jazz pictures that I found in the inventory that I never use in regular residential builds. This is my opportunity to make them shine. And so I like that open wall there. I was able to stagger them, and I think that ended up looking really nice. I had issues here with the ceiling light being on the second level. So I actually had to build a fake balcony out here just so I can position the lights on the second ceiling, like really high. And I love these spotlights, so I had to make them work. And this is the best thing that I came up with. And I think the end result came out spectacular, if I do say so myself. That's a new trick. Like, I didn't ever come across that problem before, and I know they can't just float in mid-air, so they have to be attached at the very top. So here's the games tables. I start positioning those out, and then a little bit from one of the event rewards, the dartboard. This was from the Blast from the Past, I believe. So if your game doesn't have those, it's not a big deal because they still have games tables. They still have plenty of other stuff to do. And here are the armchairs. I'm just going to position around the balcony and just make sure that the space makes sense, like the footpath walking through. I wanted to make sure that there was a good flow between everything. And then of course these little oil lamps. I like those because those bring some more ambiance that is needed for this upstairs location. Once I cut that corner off on the bathroom, it has a lot better flow. And sorry if it's jumping around a lot, but I'm checking every angle and just making sure it's smooth. Looking through some greenery now, and I like this bouquet better for the downstairs bar because that's more of a focal point, and it's blue for the blue velvet. Don't forget the ceilings. I want to make sure that I black out all the ceilings because a white ceiling would really stand out in that. So I go through in first person mode and just kind of look around, and I'm really happy with how it looks so far. So we're good to keep moving. I put music upstairs. That was the jazz. I think I do end up putting a jazz speaker outside as well. And then here's something new that I haven't tried before. Instead of fencing, I tried the velvet rope, which looks like it's an elite club, like you're waiting to get into this nightclub or something. And I thought you would still have visibility of the front windows, so it doesn't take away from that. And of course I have to add some foliage, some greenery in front of it. And so this hedge fits perfectly, and I like how it's kind of staggered. And so I complete it by framing it out with this little wrought iron fence and remove the flooring underneath it so that I can put dirt. And I think this completes the look. And then of course I have to check it at night and make sure all the pathways are well lit and you can see the front entrance and everything. I tried a different couple of wall lights for the front entrance, and I ended up changing those to black frame, and when the light is blue they don't stand out as much, and that's what I did in live mode. So now I'm going through and adding the AC units and the vents on top of the building so they look industrial and commercial like the other buildings next to it. And then we're gonna go to the back patio and put some benches out. I like the bench on that mid-level, and I wanted to incorporate a fountain as well because there was a fountain on the original lot. So I get some other fountain and outdoor objects, and I'm kind of trying to play around with the layout up here And I thought maybe if I add a rug or something, it would tie it all together. And but there was not really a rug that I liked. So while I was in the rugs, I went ahead and did a welcome mat in each entrance, and then the blue rugs with all the different shades of blue under the games tables, and then the circular rugs in each of the conversation spots upstairs. So I'm just adding my decorations throughout. I like that little exit sign and then the stairs sign as well. I found some more jazz prints, so I dispersed those around as well. And now I'm using another item from the rewards event, Blast from the Past. So if you don't have this in your game, that won't affect it much. You still have dining tables, and I'm still going through my list of all the required items as I'm building this, just to make sure that I have all the required items to make it a complete lot or a complete venue. So I was looking at the original build, and I think my new one is a lot bigger and more spacious on the inside. Previously, they had an outdoor wraparound porch, but there was really no purpose because there wasn't anything to do outside except look at the fountain in the back patio area. I like that there's a varied amount of things for people to do. They can hop on the piano and play. They can go on the microphone and tell jokes and do a comedy show. I also have a blue guitar on stage, and I will be adding a blue violin as well. And then, so there's plenty of things for performances and entertainment. And then upstairs is like the chill conversation areas and the card games, the dartboards too. And I look at my required list for this venue. The only thing left to add is a garbage can, which I add behind the bar there. And then I will add an outdoor trash can in the back patio, just outside the back door. So I'm doing all of my last final changes and looking over everything in the interior before I move on to the back patio and the landscaping on this lot. I still wanted to include more greenery and possibly some trees or hedges. I know there was a bigger fountain on the property before, but I went with this smaller one. It's kind of like a feature on the top deck. I'm cutting out some of the tiles so I can add a planter in the middle of the pavement. And so I'm just working with different plants and seeing kind of what fits here. And of course I landed on blue because we want to incorporate blue at the blue velvet, even in the landscaping. So I like these small hedges, these little cypress trees or whatever they are. I used very tall ones on the other side, but I ended up matching it to these because that looked way better when I play tested this lot. So enough about the landscaping because that's pretty boring speak. I have a couple more houses to do in Willow Creek. And so one of the next ones I want to do is the museum because I have some really good ideas. So I'm excited to rebuild the museum in Willow Creek, and then we have 2 more residential lots to rebuild or renovate, and then we'll be done with Willow Creek. Then we can move on to Oasis Springs as our next series for building with the base game. I like the challenge of this because it really helps me think outside the box. This lot is uploaded to the gallery under One in a Million, and I am leaving all the details in the description down below as well. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Please hit the like button, leave your comments down below, and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss my future uploads. We'll see you next time and have a fantastic day.